Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'll be doing a benchmarking session with my RTX 4090. Now the model I have is the MSI Suprim X. This is a aftermarket card, of course. It has 3 fans and it has very good cooling in my opinion. And I'm going to show you what settings I use, particularly to achieve 3 GHz. Important things that you need are, of course, is MSI Afterburner, and I'm using the 4.6.5 Beta 2. And that's important because that's what supports Ada Lovelace, as it's just come out, so previous versions of MSI Afterburner may not fully support it. Now I'm using the MSI Suprim X RTX 4090, so I'll have a different power limit maximum from some people, and of course all cards are different. So this isn't an ironclad guide or anything. I'm just showing you what it takes for me to get to 3 GHz. So what's really important with the Lovelace cards this time around is the voltage percentage. Note this is percentage. Having this at 100% allows the core voltage to run at 1.100 volts, which is not a lot. And I haven't seen anyone destroy their card with that kind of voltage. It's actually quite on the reserve side, to be honest. I think there won't be too long before someone finds a way to bypass that. Now I'll of course increase my power limit to my maximum, which is 108%. If you got like a founder's edition or something, that will be like 33%. So this all in all gives you around about a power limit of 520 for what I've been told. And these cards are so efficient, you rarely ever hit that unless you're playing at 8K or something, so it should be fine. Now, core clock, I increased mine to plus 175. Your card may take more, your card might take less. It's always the same with overclocking. You have to kind of trial and error to find what your card likes. My one likes 175. My memory, I've only pushed it to 1000 because I just don't want to be greedy. I mean, I'm happy with 1000. It may be able to do more, but I found that to be stable, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, fan speed, I don't use the automatic fan speed. I've made my own fan profile, and I'll show that to you now. Basically, when the card gets to 60 degrees, it will max out at 85, and when it gets to 50 degrees, it will jump straight to 75. So between 50 degrees and 60 degrees, it can ramp up to a maximum of 85. That's what I find comfortable for me, because my PC isn't on my desk, it's like on the floor, quite a bit away from me, so it's not, that might be a bit too loud for you, so maybe try bringing it down to 75% if you're having issues with it being a bit loud. For me, the card's really quiet anyway. Anything under 80% is very comfortable. Anyway, let's get into some benchmarks now. As you can see, I'm running the Intel i9 12900K at 5.3 GHz and 4.1 GHz on the E-cores. I'm using the MSI X Z690 Unify motherboard, and I'm using 32 gigabytes of DDR5 running at 6400 MHz at CL32. So you can see 32, 38, 38, 60, 98 are my timings. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I'm gonna close down. I'll leave MSI Afterburner so I can show you like the maximum temps, maximum power draw, total board power, and things like that at the very end. So I'm just going to be running the 3DMark suite. I'm just going to launch that now. Minimize that. So yeah, my thoughts on the 4090. It's such an amazing card. What impresses me the most is the minimums on this card is insane. And pretty much most of the time, you won't see below 90. For most games at 4K, you'll be pushing over 100 FPS. And I run a 4K OLED with a 120 Hz and G-Sync. And it's like a match made in heaven, really. Sure, the 4090 Ti will come out and push those really demanding games like Cyberpunk and maybe a few others that are still struggling to hold 60 with certain settings. But in general, this card crushes 4K. So anyway, and 3DMark have released a new benchmark called Speedway. You will have to pay for this. It's really cheap. There's like $4 or £4 depending on where you are. So I'll run this one first, and I'm gonna document all my scores because I like to be very transparent with what I do, so you guys can actually check these scores independently. There's no smoke and mirrors here. Everything I'm doing is live, and I'm actually using my dedicated streaming and recording PC, so there shouldn't be any performance penalty for what I'm showing you. However, there will be a tiny performance penalty for me having MSI Afterburner's on-screen display function available. But of course, you guys need to see what the card is doing, so I'm happy to have that available. But just bear that in mind, if I did close down MSI Afterburner, my scores might be a little bit higher. So yeah, we'll run Speedway benchmark. Now this one is a DirectX 12 benchmark run at 4040p that has ray tracing elements in it, and it's I reckon it looks pretty good. A very, very quick benchmark. It's not very long, and it doesn't test the CPU in any way. It's just purely graphical. So the on-screen display takes a while to pop up, but there it is now. So as you can see, my card's doing over 3 GHz there, and you can see my GPU V-core is at 1.100, as I said it would be, and you may need to actually use the maximum to hold 3 GHz. My card would not achieve 3 GHz without me doing that, so it is very important. So it's like a futuristic mechanical garage, it seems. She's brought her bike there and got all these AI robots to repair it or whatever. And it's just showing like a time skip kind of thing. And then she just gets on the bike and leaves, and then that's pretty much the end of the benchmark. So like she's got like bionicle legs and stuff as well. So it's obviously set some kind of futuristic setting. I think it's a pretty cool benchmark. So anyway, let's get the results now. So I was able to score 10,748, which is apparently great. So what I do is I compare my results online. So let's just quickly have a look. So frequency core was 3.015 megahertz throughout the whole test. Of course, my i9 13900K remained at 5.3 gigahertz as well. GPU temperature maxed out at 5170, and my CPU remained at about 32 degrees as the high. So that's the main stats. I'm just going to go and document this now. So as you can see, this is my account. There's no smoke and mirrors here. And what I do is I just basically take a copy of the URL and I'll provide that in the video when I upload it. So this is my score. And I'm pretty interested to see where I rank in the world with this score. Let's have a look. Let's go back to the Hall of Fame. So Speedway's just come out, so there shouldn't be too many people here. So as you can see, can't read that name, but there's a lot of new submissions now. See where I rank. See, I rank number 22. I'm the fastest in the UK right now. It's the only Union Jack I can see. So I'm number 22 in the world. So I'm in the top 100 at least, but that doesn't mean much because the benchmark has just come out. But let me just quickly document this. Let's see now. Let's make a new text document. So this one was Speedway. I just like to keep track of what I'm doing. And let's run another benchmark now, something that you guys are more familiar with. Let's go with Port Royal. So I just want to show you guys what to expect with this type of overclock, and obviously just show it to you in live real time, as I'm able to do that because I have a separate recording PC. As you can see with Port Royal, the GPU power draw is just creeping up over 500 watts. But what's important to note is I still haven't reached any significant power limit. So yes, the Founders Edition, interestingly enough, this time has like over 600 watt power limit, which is insane. But these cards are so efficient, and it's probably just due to the TSMC manufacturing process that you don't really use as much power as the Ampere cards. So a 520 watt power limit on these cards is actually pretty good. You'll find you'll be able to hold your maximum core clock throughout your whole gaming session without any fluctuations. I didn't mention my power supply, so I'm using a Corsair AX 1200 watt power supply. This doesn't have the fancy new PCIe Gen 5 connectors, and it doesn't give me any issues. I'm using the supplied dongle as 4 8-pin PCI Express power connectors that all get connected up. This time around, the dongle has like a sense pin, which kind of lets the power supply know how much to draw, kind of thing. So it's a little bit more safe this time around. I remember using my 3-pin on my 3090 Ti that didn't have a sense pin, but there was no issues there either. And I was even able to draw 600 watts over 3 8-pins. So now that I've got 4, I'm very, very assured that I shouldn't have any issues with power. You can see my score now is 27,614, which is just ridiculous. I've never seen a graphics score in Port Royal so fast. The 4090 is such a high jump over Ampere current offerings. It's surprising at times. So again, let's document this so you guys can have a look. And obviously better than 99% of most results. You have to have a 4090 to live in this kind of part of the leaderboard. So as you can see, I've maintained 3 GHz. Average clock was just under 3 GHz. Average temp was 51C, etc, etc. So there's loads of details there. I'm just going to document this. Let's open back that notepad. So this was Port Royal. So I'll keep this open. It's not really going to affect my scores in any way. Okay, let's move on to Time Spike Stream. This one's quite a brutal one, so hopefully I get a good score. This one actually tests the CPU as well, so let's see how I do. This one seems to be drawing a little less power than the well, actually no, there are different parts, so I'm not really going to make a judgment yet. But most of the time you're going to be under 500 watt, which is the most important thing. So you want to stay under that power limit, especially with my card, because I know my one only draw 520, which is probably for the best. My 3090 Ti with my Asus Tough OC, I had an 890 watt XOC BIOS, and that thing could draw, if you let it, over 650 watts. So it's very pleasant and more refreshing to see that I'm far below 600 watt while doing these kind of benchmarks. So it'll be interesting to see how AMD responds. I mean, Navi announcement should be in November. I think it will be competitive though. I honestly think that they will surprise a lot of people. So yeah, competition's great. You may even force NVIDIA to lower prices. So let's hope that AMD does a great job as well. So for those of you who like to record your gameplay and other things like me, you'd be pleased to know that the AV1 codec, and just the whole shadow play encoder setup is so much better now. You can actually record up to 250 megabytes per second as a maximum bit rate, and of course you can now record at 8K 60 FPS, which is the first time it's been able to be done, and it's amazing that we can actually do that now. Disappointing that there's no DisplayPort 2.0 or even 2.1. There's another specification that's above that now apparently, but apparently NVIDIA, AMD cards will have that natively. So bit of a strange decision by NVIDIA to do that. It doesn't affect me too much because I'm running an OLED smart TV, so I don't have DisplayPort anyway, but for those who use monitors and maybe wanted access to like 240 hertz 4K, which may even be a strong argument because the kind of frames this card can push out, you may find yourself wanting a bit more real estate with your high refresh rate. So bit of a curious one. Let's hope that the RTX 4090 Ti potentially has it, but I don't think it will. And it's very uncommon for NVIDIA to come with a completely different output layout in the same generation, but it might be done due to the feedback. We'll see. So this is the CPU part of the test. I can see my CPU's at 68 degrees right now, so it's really pushing it, and 73% plus load. But we got through that benchmark with no issues. Let's see what kind of score I got. So I scored 17,847, a CPU score of 9,802. So let's quickly document this and see what I get online, just so I can post this in my comment section so you guys can get a better look. And just to kind of add more transparency that there's no funny business going on here. A lot of people like to, I don't know, let's say muddy the waters with what they actually have and what they can actually do. I've never been someone to claim anything that I don't own or haven't achieved myself. So that's why I'm providing full transparency here. Okay, so we've done Speedway, Port Royal, and Time Spy Extreme. Let's do the normal Time Spy as well. I'm just going to do the whole suite pretty much just so no one misses out when they want to compare results, because some of these are, you have to pay for some of these are free. So Time Spy Extreme, I think that's one you have to buy, whereas the normal Time Spy is like free for the regular suite. So I'll run the normal one as well. Then I'll run Fire Strike, and pretty much just leave it at that. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this is providing some good information for those who are interested in the RTX 4090's overclock performance. So I'm getting the Intel i9 13900K next week, already paid for. I had mine on pre-order from when it was available. So I really hope I do get one. I don't doubt there'll be stock issues, but seeing what the scalpers did with the RTX 4090, you got to wonder now. Maybe pre-order is the way if you are able, because these scalpers are not playing. I've seen 4090s online for over £3,000, which is just ridiculous. And you don't have to worry about mining being the issue anymore. Scalpers are going to cause us the same issues, it seems. And it's disappointing. This never used to be a thing. This type of behavior has kind of crept in with all the modern releases ever since the 3000 series. There's just scalping on CPUs, they're scalping on memory, they're scalping on all the GPUs now, and it's disappointing for the people that generally just would like to buy the hardware to play games. But there's a lot of people just trying to make money, which is something they're allowed to do. But I think it actually encourages the retailers as well to increase their margins, because they know a lot of these are going to be resold anyway for a higher markup. You know, so it's disappointing, but if you're in a position where you can pre-order at MSRP, it may be the way forward now to avoid disappointment and just being scalped in general. Just looking at those FPS numbers, it's 260 FPS plus. I mean, my i9 12900K can barely keep up some of the times. So yeah, we're actually got a GPU now on our hands that pretty much makes all modern CPUs have to really fight tooth and nail to provide or leverage your GPU properly. So yes, we could probably get more powerful GPUs like the 4090 Ti and whatever Navi is gonna, whatever AMD is gonna produce. But are we even ready for it? The CPUs don't seem to be. So maybe the Zen 3 3D variant will do the trick. We'll see. Actually, it's not Zen 3, Zen 4. Sorry, I got to correct myself there before someone else does. So yeah, the Zen 4 3D variant that comes out early 2023. That will probably take the performance crown and maybe be able to get the most out of all of these new GPUs. Okay, so I was able to score 34,910, which is considered an excellent score. But the best someone's been able to achieve is 36,000. So I'm only like just under 200 points away, so that's encouraging. So let's just quickly document the score as before. As you can see, I left open my time spike stream score, so that would have affected my score just a little bit. So that was my bad, but it's okay. It's still a really, really good score, almost 4,000 on the graphics score. So maybe I'll push a little bit further just to achieve that. We'll see. But anyway, let's document this very quickly. Just minimize this. It doesn't need to be that big. So I've got two different documents because I've done time spike extreme. With me. Yeah, so I've got two different documents. I was thinking, why is that? Where's my time spike extreme score gone? So this is the normal time spike. I'm going to close this down just to make sure I don't overwrite anything. Okay, what have we got left? So we got Fire Strike. There's so many versions of Fire Strike. I'm not even going to bother do all of them. I think I'll just do Fire Strike Extreme. Because Fire Strike, the original one, is just ridiculously it's like 1080p, I think. So it's just going to be a bottleneck. So this is at least run at 1440p. Let's go with that. This is just cutting through times by extreme. I mean, Fire Strike Extreme like it's nothing. Way over 200 frames per second. Interesting to see what kind of score I get. Most importantly, you can see some of these older tests don't really come close to using 500 watt because they're not using like ray tracing and some of these more advanced effects, so they end up using less power. So you can see there's a little bit of CPU bottlenecking going on there. I'm only getting 96% GPU utilization, so it's such a fast card, it's ridiculous how quick it is. But this is like the CPU element of the test. GPU is not really doing anything at this segment. And then the next part of the benchmark, it's like a combination of the two. So CPU and GPU kind of working in tandem. And I remember when this benchmark first came out, all of the GPUs and CPUs are just struggling. You wouldn't even be able to get this sequence to run over 60 frames per second because it was so demanding. Like you can see the 4090 and 12900K having no such issues. It just looks perfectly smooth. Okay, and the results are coming in now. I was able to score 43,326, just close to the best. You can see how high that score is. It's almost broken the recorded world record. So yeah, almost 50,000 on the graphics score too. So another thing where I've noticed that Lovelace has improved, Ampere in particular never really did well at lower resolutions. You'd just like lose a lot of performance. It's almost as like all the CUDA cores weren't being used. But with Lovelace, even at low resolutions, you get full utilization out of your card, which is nice to see. So they've obviously improved on their mistakes. So I think that will do it, guys. So this was Firestrike Extreme. Yeah, I think that'll do it, guys, for the benchmarking. And of course, I'll link all my results there so you guys can compare against your own system if you're interested in doing that. But let's quickly wrap it up by looking at some statistics. So this is GPU Z. It's been monitoring everything in the background. So the maximum temperature throughout this whole session was 58.2 degrees Celsius. And maximum chip power, also just the chip itself, 456.9 watt. Total board power, maximum power draw was 525.9. So I'm able to achieve over 520 watt, but may run into some say power limitations at that point. But anyway, that is pretty much it for me, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.